My bad, your laptop slipped into the pool, my brother said, right after I refused to lend him $20,000. Dad just sighed. It was an accident. I didn't argue. That night, I made a few quiet moves, some calls, a few password changes. By 6:15 a.m., he woke up to something he never imagined. I watched my MacBook Pro sink to the bottom of my parents' pool, the blue glow of the screen fading as water seeped into the vents. Whoops, Jake said, brushing his hands together. My bad. Guess it slipped. He wasn't even trying to hide the smirk. That was $3,000, I said quietly. Yeah? Maybe if you weren't such a tight ass with money, I wouldn't be so stressed. Stressed people drop things. He shrugged. Accidents happen. I stared at him. At my younger brother, 32 years old, unemployed for the 4th time in 5 years, standing there like he'd just knocked over a cup of coffee instead of destroying my entire freelance business. You'll replace it, right? I asked, calm, reasonable. Jake actually laughed. With what money? That's literally why I asked you for the loan, genius. I'm broke. So you destroyed my laptop because I wouldn't give you $20,000. I didn't destroy it on purpose. It was an accident. He said it slowly, like I was stupid. Learn the difference. My father appeared in the patio doorway, probably drawn by the raised voices. He took one look at the pool, at me, at Jake's defensive posture, and sighed. What happened? Jake threw my laptop in the pool. It slipped, Jake protested. Jesus Christ, I was holding it, and it slipped. Why do you always assume the worst about me? Dad looked tired. He always looked tired when it came to mediating between us. Let it go, Marcus. Family doesn't fight over material things. Material things. My entire client database was on that laptop. 3 active projects worth $40,000 combined. Contracts, invoices, portfolio work I'd spent 5 years building. My entire freelance graphic design business. Gone. But sure, material things. You're right, Dad, I heard myself say. Family. I walked to the pool edge, rolled up my sleeve, and fished the MacBook out of the deep end. Water poured from the keyboard. The screen was black, dead. Jake was already walking back into the house, whistling. Dad squeezed my shoulder. I know you're upset, but he didn't mean it. You know how your brother gets. Yeah, I knew exactly how Jake got. I'd been the responsible one my entire life. The one who went to college, graduated with honors, built a career. Jake had been the one who needed time to find himself, which apparently meant dropping out of 3 different colleges, getting fired from a dozen jobs, and moving back in with our parents 4 separate times. I was 35. I'd been freelancing for 5 years after leaving a corporate design job that was slowly killing my soul. I made good money, $120K a year, sometimes more. I owned my condo, drove a paid-off Honda Accord, had a retirement account. Jake had none of those things. What Jake had was our parents' sympathy, their endless patience, their willingness to believe that this time would be different, this job would work out, this business idea would finally take off. And Jake had me, or he used to. He'd asked me for the $20,000 2 days ago, needed it for a business opportunity, some crypto scheme that was definitely, absolutely, 100% going to make him rich this time. I'd said no, politely, explained that I'd lent him money before, $5,000 3 years ago, $2,000 last year, and never been paid back. Told him I couldn't keep funding his pipe dreams. He'd called me selfish, said I was hoarding wealth while he struggled, accused me of thinking I was better than him. I'd left my parents' house, forgotten my laptop on their patio table. 48 hours later, it was drowning in chlorinated water. Accident, sure. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my condo with the dead MacBook on my kitchen counter, a bag of rice next to it like some pathetic talisman. Everyone knows rice doesn't actually work, but what else was I supposed to do? I had backups. Thank God I had backups. Everything was in the cloud, Dropbox, Google Drive, external hard drives. I'd lose maybe a day's work, maybe, but that wasn't the point. The point was that Jake had destroyed something valuable of mine out of spite, and everyone, Dad, probably Mom too, would make excuses for him, would tell me to be the bigger person, to let it go, to remember that family comes first. I'd spent 35 years being the bigger person. I was done. At 11:47 p.m., I opened my laptop, my old backup laptop, a 5-year-old Dell that wheezed when it booted up, and started making a list. Everything Jake had that was connected to me. Every way I'd been supporting him without realizing how deep it ran. The list got long fast. At midnight, I started making calls. Call #1, my bank. I need to change all my security information, passwords, security questions, everything. The rep, Denise, according to her intro, sounded confused. Has your account been compromised, Mr. Torres? Potentially. I need to remove someone as an emergency contact too. Who? Jake Torres, my brother. I'd added him 5 years ago. He'd needed a reference for something, an apartment application, I think. Asked if he could list me as an emergency contact on my bank account, just in case they call for verification. I'd said yes because that's what family does. Now I was wondering what else he'd done with that access. Done, Denise said. Your new password is set, security questions updated, and Jake Torres has been removed from your account. Can you check something else? Can you see if there have been any inquiries about my account? Phone calls? Attempts to access information? Keyboard clicking. A long pause. Mr. Torres, I'm showing 3 phone inquiries in the past 6 months. Someone calling to verify your account balance balance, and available credit. They provided your security question answers correctly. My stomach dropped. Who called? The notes don't say, but they had your information, so we provided the details. Should we not have done that? It's fine, thank you. I hung up and added a note to my list. Jake has been checking my bank account. Call number 2, family phone plan. I'd been paying for everyone's phone for 3 years. Started when Dad had a rough year financially. Some bad investments, Mom's medical bills. I'd offered to take over the family plan temporarily. Temporarily became permanently. $340 a month for 5 lines. Mom, Dad, Jake, Aunt Teresa, and me. I need to remove everyone from the account except myself. That's a pretty big change, Mr. Torres. Can I ask? Effective immediately. Tonight. It's going to take about an hour to process. That's fine. I gave her the information. She processed it. By 1:15 a.m., I was the only person on the plan. By 6 a.m., 4 people were going to wake up to disconnected phones. Call number 3. Streaming services, Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Disney Plus, Spotify Premium. All in my name. All with profiles for Jake. I logged into each one, deleted Jake's profile, changed the password. He'd been watching on my dime for years. Not anymore. Call number 4. Legal consultation. I found a lawyer who did after-hours consultations. Paid $200 for a 30-minute phone call with James Park, a real estate attorney who specialized in landlord-tenant disputes. Here's my situation, I said. My father owns a rental property. He signed it over to me last year for tax purposes. Something about estate planning and avoiding capital gains. I'm the legal owner on the deed. My brother has been living there for 3 years, rent-free. No lease, no written agreement, just a family arrangement. Can I evict him? You're the legal owner. Yes. And there's no lease? Nothing in writing. Then yes. He's essentially a guest who's overstayed his welcome. In Texas, you need to provide 30 days written notice for an eviction without cause. After 30 days, if he doesn't leave, you can file for a formal eviction through the courts. How do I provide notice? Certified mail and email. Make sure you document everything. Date, time, method of delivery. Keep copies. Can I start tonight? Technically? Sure. But Mr. Torres, are you sure about this? This is your brother. I'm sure. Okay. I can draft the notice for you. $500 and I'll have it ready in an hour. Do it. At 2:47 a.m., the eviction notice hit Jake's email. The certified letter would arrive tomorrow. The property. I hadn't thought about the rental property in months. Dad had transferred it to me in March 2023 as part of some estate planning strategy his accountant had recommended. Something about minimizing taxes and protecting assets. I'd signed the papers without thinking much about it. Dad still managed it. Handled repairs, dealt with tenants, except there was only one tenant, Jake. The property was a small 2-bedroom house in Pflugerville, just outside Austin, worth maybe $320,000. Jake had moved in during his last rough patch in 2021, was supposed to be temporary. 3 years later, he was still there, rent-free, utilities paid by Dad. By me, technically, since I'd been giving Dad $1,000 a month for the past year to help with expenses. Money that I now realized was probably going straight to covering Jake's free ride. I pulled up the property records on the Travis County website. There it was. Marcus Antonio Torres, sole owner. Transferred from Richard Torres, Dad, on March 15, 2023. My house, my property. And Jake was an unauthorized occupant with no legal right to be there. Call number 5, auto lender. This one was trickier. Had to wait until 8 a.m. when the bank opened. Jake's car, a 2020 Nissan Altima, had been financed through my credit union. He'd needed a cosigner because his credit was temporarily bad. Translation, permanently terrible. I'd co-signed the loan in 2022. $28,000 at 6.5% interest. Jake was supposed to make the payments. I'd made him promise. Swear on Mom's life, whatever. He'd made exactly 3 payments before things got tight. I'd been covering the $480 monthly payment for the past 18 months. But here's the thing. Co-signing doesn't just mean you're responsible for the debt. In Texas, if you're on the title as a co-owner, you have rights to the vehicle. I was on the title. I need to report my vehicle as being used without my permission, I told the loan officer, a woman named Patricia who sounded tired at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. You want to repo your own car? The loan is in my name. The other party is not authorized to use it anymore. I need it returned. Sir, if you're a co-signer, I'm a co-owner. Check the title. Both names are on it. I never gave the other party permission for exclusive use. I want my vehicle back. She put me on hold. Came back 5 minutes later. You're right. You're listed as a co-owner. If you're claiming unauthorized use, we can dispatch a recovery agent. Standard fee is $350 and the vehicle will be taken to our impound lot. You'll need to provide documentation that you're revoking permission. I'll email it right now. How fast can you pick it up? We have a guy in the Austin area. He could probably be there by 10 a.m. Perfect. I drafted a letter, signed it, scanned it, and emailed it. By 8:30 a.m., the repo was scheduled. Call number 6, credit card company. This was the one that made me actually angry. Years ago, maybe 2019, Dad had convinced me to add Jake as an authorized user on one of my credit cards. Just for emergencies, Dad had said. He needs to build his credit back up. You don't have to give him the physical card. Just having his name on the account will help his score. I'd agreed, like an idiot. I'd never given Jake the card, never told him the number remember, except 6 months ago, I'd let him borrow my debit card to pick up groceries while I was at my parents' house. He'd been gone for 2 hours, came back with 1 bag of groceries and a receipt for $47. I hadn't thought anything of it until now. I logged into my credit card account, the one with Jake as an authorized user, and started reviewing the statements from the past 6 months. Charges I didn't recognize. Small ones mostly. $23 at a gas station I never went to. $45 at a restaurant I'd never heard of. $89 at a gaming store. $156 at some online retailer. They added up. $2,147 over 6 months. Jake had somehow gotten my credit card number, probably wrote it down when I gave him my debit card, and had been making small purchases, betting I wouldn't notice. I called the credit card company. I need to dispute charges and remove an authorized user. Which charges? I listed every suspicious transaction from the past 6 months. 23 charges totaling $2,147. I also need to remove Jake Torres as an authorized user and cancel this card. Issue me a new one with a new number. We can do that. The new card will arrive in 7 to 10 business days. Make it expedited, and I want those charges investigated. We'll open a fraud investigation. You'll see the credits in 3 to 5 business days pending the investigation outcome. Thank you. $2,000. That son of a bitch had stolen $2,000 from me. By 6 a.m., I was done. Phone plan, canceled for Jake. Streaming services, locked him out. Property, eviction notice sent. Car, repo scheduled for 10 a.m. Credit card, canceled. Fraud investigation opened. Bank account, security changed. Jake removed. I made coffee and waited. My phone started ringing at 6:16 a.m. Jake. I let it go to voicemail. Another call. Dad. Voicemail. Text from Jake. WTF, my phone doesn't work. Another text. Call me from Dad's phone. I didn't respond. 6:24 a.m. Jake calling from Dad's phone. I declined it. 6:26 a.m. What the fuck did you do? 6:27 a.m. My phone is disconnected. 6:28 a.m. Did you cancel my phone? 6:29 a.m. Are you fucking serious right now? I sipped my coffee and watched the texts come in. 6:31 a.m. Call me now. 6:33 a.m. Dad calling from his cell. I answered. Marcus, what's going on? Jake is freaking out. His phone isn't working. I removed him from my phone plan. What? Why would you? Because I'm done paying for it. I've been paying $340 a month for 5 people's phone service. As of today, I'm only paying for mine. You can't just... I can, actually. It's my account. I'm the only one with a contract. Everyone else was added as a courtesy. I'm revoking that courtesy. This is insane. Over a laptop? This isn't about the laptop, Dad. This is about 20 years of Jake taking advantage of me while everyone makes excuses for him. He's your brother. Family takes care of family. You're right. So Jake can start taking care of himself. I hung up. 3 seconds later, Dad called again. I declined it. 9:47 a.m. Jake's texts had evolved. You sent me an eviction notice? You can't kick me out. This is illegal. Dad says the house is his. You're fucking insane. I replied to that one. Check the property records. The house is in my name. Has been since March 2023. You're living in my property without a lease. You have 30 days. Fuck you. See you in 30 days. 10:03 a.m. My phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. Torres, this is Danny with Austin Recovery Services. We've successfully recovered the 2020 Nissan Altima. It's at our impound lot on Lamar. The subject was not happy. I bet. He tried to physically prevent us from taking it. Had to call Austin PD for assistance. They explained to him that you're the legal owner and we're within our rights. He's filing a police report right now claiming theft. That won't go anywhere. I know, just giving you a heads up. You'll need to come by with ID and proof of ownership to claim the vehicle. Or we can hold it in impound at $45 per day. Hold it for now. I'll let you know. Sounds good. 10:47 a.m. Dad showed up at my condo. I watched him through the peephole for a minute before opening the door. He looked furious. What the hell is wrong with you? He said, before I could even say hello. Good morning, Dad. Don't good morning me. Jake is having a breakdown. His phone is off. His car was repossessed. He got an eviction notice. What did you do? I stopped letting him use my resources without paying for them. He's your brother, and I'm his bank, his phone company, his landlord, his co-signer. I'm done with all of it. Over a laptop, a stupid laptop, a $3,000 laptop with my entire business on it, yes. But also over $2,000 in fraudulent credit card charges. Over 18 months of car payments I've been covering. Over 3 years of free rent. Over a phone plan I've paid for. Over 20 years of being the responsible one while everyone tells me to be patient with Jake. Dad's face changed. What do you mean fraudulent charges? I showed him my phone. The credit card statement with highlighted charges. The dates. The amounts. Jake stole my credit card number when I let him borrow my debit card 6 months ago. He's been making charges ever since. Small ones, so I wouldn't notice. $2,347 total. Dad's mouth opened. Nothing came out. So no, Dad, this isn't about a laptop. This is about me finally looking at the full picture of how much Jake has been taking from me while everyone told me I wasn't doing enough. He's family. Family doesn't steal from family. Family doesn't destroy each other's property out of spite. Family doesn't lie and manipulate and take advantage for years while everyone makes excuses. Where's he supposed to go? I don't know. Maybe he can move back in with you and Mom. Or maybe he can get a job and pay for his own apartment like an adult. fault. He can't afford, then maybe he shouldn't have thrown my laptop in a pool. Dad stared at me. You're really going to do this? It's already done. He left without another word. 11:30 a.m. A text from Mom. She usually stayed out of these things, but apparently this was too much even for her. Marcus, honey, please reconsider. Jake made a mistake, but he's your brother. Can we talk about this? I replied, Mom, I love you, but Jake didn't make a mistake. He destroyed my property on purpose because I wouldn't give him $20,000. Then he's been stealing from me for months. I can't keep enabling this. He said it was an accident. Do you really believe that? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Please don't do this before the holidays. Think about Thanksgiving. I have thought about it. I've thought about 20 years of holidays where I walked on eggshells around Jake while everyone told me to be understanding. I'm done. She didn't respond. 2:15 p.m. Jake showed up at my condo. I watched through the peephole as he pounded on the door. I know you're in there. Open the fucking door. I didn't. Marcus, open this door or I swear to God. Or what? I said through the door. You'll throw my laptop in a pool? Oh wait, you can't do this to me. That's my car. That's my house. Check the paperwork. They're mine. You're ruining my life. No, I'm just not funding it anymore. There's a difference. He pounded on the door again. Kept pounding. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Jake, you need to leave. This is private property. If you don't leave, I'm calling the police. Fuck you. More pounding. I called 911. I need police assistance. My brother is at my door refusing to leave and making threats. Jake must have heard me through the door because the pounding stopped. I heard footsteps running down the hallway. Never mind, I told the dispatcher. He just left. Do you want an officer to come by anyway? To file a report? Actually, yes. I'd like to document this. Officer Jennifer Martinez arrived 20 minutes later. Mid-30s, dark hair pulled back in a tight bun, 12 years with Austin PD according to the nameplate on her uniform. I showed her the recording, explained the situation, the laptop, the eviction, Jake showing up and threatening me. Has your brother ever been violent with you? Not physically, but he destroyed my property 2 days ago, and he's been stealing from me for months. I showed her the credit card statements. I have documentation of everything. She took notes. Do you want to file for a restraining order? Can I do that? Based on what you're telling me, destruction of property, theft, showing up at your home and making threats? Yes, I'd recommend it actually. Given that you're evicting him and repossessed his car, things might escalate. Okay, how do I do that? She gave me information for the courthouse, explained the process, wrote up a report documenting Jake's visit and the threats. Keep this report number, she said. You'll need it for the restraining order application. After she left, I sat on my couch and stared at the wall. This was real. This was actually happening. I was cutting my brother out of my life. Over the next week, things escalated exactly like Officer Martinez had predicted. Jake tried to break into the rental property after I changed the locks. The neighbors called the police. He was arrested for criminal trespassing but released the same day. He created a GoFundMe claiming I'd stolen his car and kicked him out on the streets for no reason. Raised $347 before I reported it as fraud, and GoFundMe took it down. He showed up at my parents' house and trashed his old bedroom, the one he'd been using as storage, punched a hole in the wall. Dad called me crying, asked me to drop the eviction, said Jake was having a breakdown. I said no. Mom stopped texting me. Dad called once, said I was tearing the family apart, and hung up before I could respond. Aunt Teresa, whose phone I'd also disconnected, left a voicemail saying I was cruel and heartless, and she didn't raise me to be this way. She hadn't raised me at all, but whatever. My Uncle Carlos, Dad's brother, called to say he was disappointed in me, said family is forever and I was going to regret this. I didn't argue with any of them, just documented everything, saved every text, every voicemail, every email. The restraining order hearing was on November 3rd, Judge Linda Foster presiding, 28 years on the bench according to the bio on the courthouse website. Jake showed up with a public defender who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. I had James Park, the real estate attorney, who'd agreed to represent me for the restraining order too. The judge reviewed my evidence. The recording of Jake pounding on my door, the police report from Officer Martinez, the documentation of the laptop destruction, the credit card fraud, the trespassing arrest. Jake's lawyer tried to argue that this was a family dispute that didn't warrant court intervention. Judge Foster looked at him like he'd just said something incredibly stupid. Mr. Torres destroyed his brother's property, committed credit card fraud, trespassed on his brother's property after being evicted, and showed up at his brother's home making threats. This isn't a family dispute. This is criminal behavior. The restraining order is granted. Mr. Jake Torres is to stay at least 500 feet away from Mr. Marcus Torres, his home, and his place of business. No contact via phone, email, social media, or third parties. Violation will result in immediate arrest. Next case. The gavel came down. Jake stood up, face red. This is bullshit. He's my brother. You can't. Mr. Torres, sit down or I'll hold you in contempt. The public defender pulled Jake back into his seat. We left through different exits. Thanksgiving came and went. I spent it alone in my condo with takeout Chinese food and a marathon of Star Wars movies. Mom texted, "We miss you." I didn't respond. Dad called on Friday. I let it go to voicemail. "Son, I know you're angry, but this has gone on long enough. Jake is staying with us now. He lost his job because because he couldn't get to work without a car. He's depressed. He's talking about hurting himself. Please, can we figure this out for the family? I saved the voicemail but didn't call back. Jake threatening suicide was an old play. He'd done it before, twice in high school, once in his early 20s. Every time, everyone dropped everything to help him. Got him therapy, medication, support, and every time, once the attention died down, he went right back to his old patterns. I wasn't falling for it again. The credit card investigation concluded on December 2nd. The fraud department called. Mr. Torres, we've completed our investigation into the disputed charges. We have evidence that the charges were made using your card number by someone who had physical access to your card. We're crediting your account for the full $347. Are you pressing charges? That's up to you. We can provide the evidence to law enforcement if you'd like to pursue it. Yes, I want to press charges. We'll forward everything to the Austin Police Department. Detective Marcus Chen, no relation despite the similar first name, contacted me on December 10th. 20 years with APD, specializing in financial crimes. Mr. Torres, we've reviewed the evidence from your credit card company. Combined with your previous report about your brother's behavior, we have enough for theft charges. It's a Class B misdemeanor in Texas for amounts under $2,500. Are you sure you want to proceed? Yes, this is your brother. I know who he is. A conviction could affect his ability to get employment, housing, professional licenses. I understand. Okay, we'll issue a warrant. Jake was arrested on December 18th. Dad called me, sobbing. They arrested Jake for theft because of you. How could you do this to your own brother? I didn't do anything to him. He stole from me. I reported the crime. The police did their job. He's in jail before Christmas. He'll probably be released on bond. It's a misdemeanor. You have to drop the charges. Please, Marcus, please. No. Why are you doing this? Because for 20 years, everyone has protected Jake from consequences. And look where it got him. 32 years old, no job, no money, no car, stealing from family. Maybe facing consequences is exactly what he needs. You're punishing him. No, Dad. The justice system is holding him accountable. There's a difference. I hung up. Christmas was even lonelier than Thanksgiving. I sat in my condo and thought about calling Mom, thought about reaching out to Dad, thought about seeing if Jake wanted to talk. I didn't do any of those things. Instead, I worked, rebuilt my client list, bought a new MacBook Pro, $3,200 after tax, even more expensive than the last one, backed up everything 3 times. I went to therapy, Dr. Rachel Kim, licensed therapist, specializing in family trauma and boundaries. She helped me understand that what I was feeling, the guilt, the isolation, the doubt, was normal. You're grieving, she said. You're grieving the family you thought you had, the family you deserved to have. That's a real loss. But I'm the one who walked away. You didn't walk away. You stopped letting them hurt you. There's a difference. Jake's trial was set for February 14th, Valentine's Day. The irony wasn't lost on me. He took a plea deal, deferred adjudication, 2 years probation, restitution of $2,347, 100 hours community service. If he completed the probation without violations, the charge would be dismissed and wouldn't appear on his record. His lawyer called me. My client would like to speak with you, to apologize. No, Mr. Torres, he's genuinely remorseful. The restraining order is still active. He's prohibited from contacting me directly or through third parties. That includes you. If he violates it, I'll have him arrested. The lawyer hung up. 3 months after the laptop hit the pool, I got an email. From Jake's email address, subject line, I'm sorry, I didn't open it. Forwarded it straight to Detective Chen and Officer Martinez as evidence of a restraining order violation. Jake was arrested again, spent 3 days in jail before Mom posted bail. His probation officer violated him. He went back to court. The judge added another year to his probation and 50 more hours of community service. 6 months after everything started, Mom reached out. Not a text, not a call, a letter, handwritten, mailed to my condo. Marcus, I know you're angry. You have every right to be. What Jake did was wrong. How we handled it was wrong. Your father and I have been in therapy. We're finally seeing how we enabled Jake's behavior for years. How we made excuses. How we asked you to sacrifice over and over while giving Jake a pass. We understand now why you did what you did. Why you had to set boundaries. Jake is in therapy too. He's working, living with us, paying rent, taking responsibility for the first time in his life. I'm not asking you to forgive him, or us. I'm just asking you to know that we're trying. I miss my son, both my sons. Love, Mom. I read it 3 times, then I put it in a drawer and didn't respond. A year after the laptop incident, I ran into Jake at a grocery store. He was in the produce section looking at apples, thinner than I remembered, older somehow. He saw me, froze. I nodded, kept walking. Marcus, his voice was quiet. I stopped, turned around. I'm not supposed to talk to you, he said. The restraining order. But I just want you to know I'm sorry for all of it. The laptop, the money, everything. I looked at him. This person I'd spent my entire life protecting, supporting, enabling. This stranger. Okay, I said. Is there any way we could talk eventually? I don't know. I'm working now, at a warehouse, paying Mom and Dad rent, paying off the restitution. I'm trying. Good. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? I thought about that. Really thought about it. Maybe, I said finally, but not today. I turned and walked away. 2 years later, the restraining order expired. Jake didn't contact me. Mom and I had coffee once a month, slowly rebuilding something that looked like a relationship, though it would never be what it was. Dad and I texted occasionally. Neutral stuff, weather, sports, nothing deep. I never went back to family dinners, never spent holidays with them, built my own life instead. New friends, stronger boundaries, a relationship with someone who understood what I'd been through and didn't judge me for it. The laptop was long replaced. My business was thriving. I'd even bought a second property, a rental in South Austin that was actually making money. I thought about Jake sometimes, wondered if he was okay, if he was still working, if he'd learned anything, but I never reached out. Because the thing about setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm is that eventually you run out of fuel. And when you finally stop burning yourself alive, you realize how good it feels to just exist, whole, untouched, free.